Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some bookmarks with your Cricut. I've got a few different designs and various materials that we'll be trying out today, and I'm excited to show you guys, so let's get started. The first one we'll be making today is a butterfly bookmark, and you can really make this with any image, but I thought the butterfly one was really cool, so I've gone ahead and I've uploaded some butterfly SVG files here. If you want to make the same butterfly, you can head over to my blog and grab those files there. I'll have everything linked in the description down below. Let's get started. So I'm going to grab these two SVG files and I'm going to load them into our canvas here. As you can see, one is called the base and one is called the top. So you don't have to do this with an SVG file. You can just find any image. So if you want like a print and cut butterfly, that would be a lot easier, but I thought this was a little bit more neat. So I'm using these SVG files to create a butterfly for this project. All right, so we've got our butterfly here and we need to cut it in half. So we're gonna grab our shapes and we're going to grab our square tool. And we're going to hit the unlock button so we can resize it freely. I'm gonna stretch that out and make that nice and big. And we want to find the halfway point here. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this. Drag that to the bottom so we can see that a little bit better. And that's about half there. All right. Next, we are going to grab it and we are going to duplicate it. And we want to have it exactly where the other rectangle is. So I'm going to select the other one and I'm going to go over here to more and see the exact positions. I'm going to grab this X value here, X axis value, and I'm going to input that into the other one. And then I'm going to grab the same thing for the Y and input that there. That way it's exactly where the other rectangle is. Okay, awesome. Now we are going to grab one of the layers. So I'm grabbing the pink background layer here with one of the rectangles and I'm going to slice. You can see that has sliced my pink into two. Get rid of all these other ones here. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the black layer with the other rectangle. There we go. So now we've got two left side butterfly pieces and two right side butterfly pieces. So let's group them so they're a little bit easier to work with. So I'm grabbing both left side pieces. I am right clicking and I'm going to group. And let's just call that left. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the right here. We can call that right. All right, and let's move that over. So now we are going to grab our rectangle tool again. We're going to unlock it. We're going to drag that out. And before I do the measurements here, I'm going to grab my right and my left. I'm going to go to a line top. That way they are in the same line, so it's easier to see this part here. And I am going to resize this. Okay, we want a little bit of overlap on each side here. And we're going to expand these. And what we're trying to do right now is create basically what's going inside the pages. So this part here is going to be folded, and you'll see the next part when I cut this out, how that all kind of goes together. So we're going to grab that. We're going to grab the two pink sides and we are going to weld. And that kind of makes it one big piece now, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. I'm going to drag that to the bottom so we can see it. And now I'm going to grab everything. I'm going to resize it. It's just a little bit bigger than I would like it to be. Right now we're looking at, this is probably about 3 inches long. That's actually looking pretty good. So we are going to go ahead and make this. And as you can see, this is going to cut one layer out with the two sides of the butterfly. and this is gonna cut one big long one for the back of the butterfly. So let's go over so I can show you guys how we're gonna put this together. All right, so we've cut out our pieces and we've got two black pieces here, our pink long piece, and I'm just gonna be using a glue stick to put everything together. This is kind of my preferred glue for these kinds of things. It holds well enough. So let's flip that over and start gluing on our black pieces. And for this next part, I'm going to be using my bone folder. I love these for creating score lines. So we are going to create score lines on all the folds here. And I'm just going to go down against the butterfly on both sides. I'm going to fold it in half, not all the way. I'm just going to fold a little bit just so I can see where the midpoint is. And I'm going to use my bone folder just to score the middle there. This way I get a crisp line. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Let's pop that in our book and see how it looks. So I've got a copy of The Crimson Moth. This is a Fairy Loot Special Edition. And I think this one goes really well. I know it's a butterfly bookmark and not a moth, but I think it'll look nice in this book. It looks so awesome. All right, let's move on to our next bookmark. So next up, we are going to be making a magnetic bookmark. Now these are kind of fun because they stay on the page really, really well, but you have to be careful with them because I'm not usually a fan of magnetic bookmarks because I'm afraid they're going to tear the page. But this one's actually pretty gentle and it's really, really cute. So yeah, let's get started. So for this one, I actually found this image under images here in Cricut Design Space. And I've bookmarked it, but if you do a search for like just one more chapter, you'll be able to find this image. And I'm going to use this one. Now you do need Cricut access to use these images and templates. Obviously you can design your own however you like, but these are just nice, some cute ones that I found. So I was really happy to be able to use my access for them. All right, so we've got our image in, and you can see that this is a multi-layered cut image, but we're not going to use it like that. We're going to use it as a print then cut. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is give it more of a sticker kind of look. So I could use the create sticker here, but what I'm actually going to do is use the offset because I feel like I have a little bit more control. So I've already preset this to 0.25 inches, but if you see, if it was lower, it's gonna kind of cut out in these spaces here, and I don't really want that for this. So I was playing around with it and I did 0.25, which was perfect. Gonna hit apply. And let's just make this something other than black so we can see it a little bit better. So I actually cut it out. I did a print then cut in yellow, and I thought that was really, really nice. Okay, so we have our top layer and we have our offset layer. So the next thing we're going to do is tell Cricut that we want it to be print then cut instead of cutting out every single letter separately and cutting out every single color separately as different layers that we did for our butterfly. So we're going to grab those two layers and we are going to click this button here, which is flatten. And you can see that makes it just one print then cut image. That's awesome. All right, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to grab that rectangle shape again. Sorry, it's a square, I know. But I wanted to make it a rectangle, so I keep calling it a rectangle shape. I'm going to unlock that again. And let's drag it out here. I'm gonna bring that back. Let's see, this is about 5.5 inches. So when it folds over, I think that's pretty good. That gives us about 2.5 inches at the fold. And let's just make it a nice even number actually. So let's make it 6 inches. 6 inches long here, so we know exactly at the 3-inch mark, that's where we're going to do the fold. And I'm going to shrink this down just a tidbit. Okay. Now I just want to make sure it's actually wide enough for the magnets that we're going to be adding. That is good. Okay, we're going to change the colors. Let me go back. We're going to change this to yellow. There we go. So it's one cohesive color. And now we're going to grab the 2 layers and we are going to flatten that again. Awesome. All right, now let's send it to the printer to print thin cut. And I'm going to show you a little extra thing I'm going to do before I go to cut to give it a little bit more protection. Okay, so we've printed it out on our printer. I'm just going to add an extra layer of protection on the bookmark before we go to cut it. And this is just what I use for transfer paper. So this is actually shelf liner that I picked up from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut a small strip and place that in between all the black boundary lines here. All right, so now that we've cut it out, I'm just going to add some magnets. So these are just small magnets that I purchased from the dollar store, and they're just little rectangular magnets. And I'm going to use 4 of them for this bookmark. So I'll do 2 and 2. And the best way to go about doing this is folding our bookmark in half first, and then we're going to add the magnets by sticking them to each other, and then removing the adhesive tape and sticking them on the magnet. All right, now I think that looks awesome. Let's see how it looks in our book. So the next book I'm gonna try this out in is A Tempest of Tea, and this is another Fairy Loot special edition. I've been really into special edition books lately, so this is really exciting for me to make all these bookmarks to put in my books as I'm reading them. All right, that just clips right on, and I think that looks awesome. It's so cute. I'm so happy with this. All right, let's move on to our next bookmark. All right, up next, we are going to use another template. I'm going to be doing this one, which is a layered bookmark. I thought this was really, really neat, and I was really surprised to find it in here under images, but I thought it was so pretty. So for this one here, I changed it up quite a bit. So the first thing I did was I kind of played around with the colors to give it the colors I was looking for. I changed the green to a nice blue shade. I got rid of the gray, but I merged that with the black. So mine looks like this. And then I actually got rid of the background here, this white layer, because I wanted it transparent. In order to make that laminate layer, I have a whole entire video showing you how to do this, which I will link in this video. I'm going to quickly show you one part that is outdated in the other video, which is to create your laminate layer, you want to use the offset button here. So I grabbed that. So the tricky part is creating that circle, that exact same circle to cut out of the laminate sheet. What I had to do here was I contoured this white layer. So I hit all contours and then I only showed the circle. And then I grabbed these 2 layers and I sliced. I got rid of these 2 layers. And then on this layer here, I had to contour again. I'm gonna hide all layers and just grab the circle, I think, actually. Yeah, there we go. So this is gonna cut out just the outer edge as well as that little circle there. So let's move that behind there and you can see here. So that'll be our laminate layer, that white background layer now. And then we have all these layers to cut out as well. Remember, so this white layer here is not going to be actually cut out in white. This is your laminate layer. All right, so let's go ahead and cut these out and let's start putting it together. So we've cut out all the different layers here. You can see I've got 4 layers here. And then I'm also going to have a laminate layer that we will be cutting out after. And I'm just gonna glue it all together with my trusty glue stick. And when you do this, you want to start with the back layer and add each layer on. Now I'm going to run it through my laminator. And while that's going through, I'm going to cut out my laminate layer just on a plain piece of copy paper. And once that comes out, we're going to take off just the laminate layer. So make sure you leave that little dot on, and you're going to carefully place the bookmark aligned to create that buffer zone between the bookmark and the outside cut layer. And then we're going to carefully remove the copy paper from the mat, and we're going to run it through the Cricut again. So I have a cutout here, and I've added a ribbon on top, and I've got my special edition Very Loot copy of Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I absolutely love how the colors match the color scheme for this book. So I'm excited to read this series. I haven't read it before, and yeah, we have one more bookmark to go, so let's get to it. The final bookmark we are making today is a reading log. I thought this was really handy because when you're reading books back to back, then you can actually track what you thought about your books. All right, so let's get to designing it. So the first thing we're going to do is grab our rounded corner rectangle, and I'm going to manually update the size here. So I liked it a 4x6. I think this is gonna fit most books, and it gives you enough space to write on, as well as sticking some sticky notes on the back of it if you wanted to do that. So I'm going to make this yellow just to make it a little bit easier to see when we add all of our lines and text on top. Next, I'm going to grab the line shape here. It's a score line, so when you add it, it's actually going to show up as dotted lines, and it's going to say score. That's okay. So we're just going to toggle this and go to draw pen instead. So now it's going to give us a solid line instead of those little dotted lines where it's telling the Cricut that you need to score. Next, I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees, and I'm just going to drag it out a bit and place that on top. Try to get a good length here. Now I'm just going to do a bunch more. So I'm going to grab 2, 4, just keep adding. And yeah, as you notice right now, the lines are not equally separated, so we're gonna just drag one line to the bottom here. This is gonna be our last line, and now we're gonna grab all the lines. So I'm actually gonna do Control A and then remove the background here just to make it a bit easier to select all the lines. And this is my favorite function in Cricut Design Space. I used to be torn between offset and align, but it's definitely align. That is my favorite function. So watch the magic. We are going to grab these lines. We have one at the top and one at the bottom. So that tells Cricut Design Space where the boundaries are. And we are going to distribute vertically. Now we have evenly spaced lines. It is absolutely amazing. I'm also going to align to the left just to make sure all the lines are actually lined up. There we go. Just gonna center that a bit. Now, actually what we can do is grab everything and go to align, and we can center horizontally. So that gets rid of what I was just doing, actually. It makes it perfectly easier. All right, cool. I am going to group everything just in case we need to adjust any of these lines later, just to make it easier so I don't have to keep selecting everything. So I'm going to right click. After I selected all the lines, I'm going to group, and let's call these horizontal lines. I'm going to extend this. I'm going to grab one of the lines again. I'm going to paste that because we need another line. And I'm going to rotate this back to 0 so we can draw some vertical lines here. Let's drag that over there. Let's find a good length. That's pretty good. We're gonna need 2 of those. And then I'm gonna grab those 2 lines. I'm going to align again to the top to make sure those are aligned properly. Awesome, now we have our good lines. Wasn't that easy? All right, I'm gonna add some text now. So let's call this reading log, and let's find a cool typewriter font. So this one I found worked pretty well. Let's resize that. Grab everything, just center it so I can see it a bit better. Let's make that smaller. Okay, and now let's add some headers. I'm just gonna copy that so that we have the same font size here. Let's do date. And let's do rating. I'm gonna grab those 3 layers again, and I'm going to make sure they're aligned properly in the same row there. And I'm gonna have to just eyeball this, unfortunately, to make sure they're centered. All right, cool. The only thing we have left to do is to add our stars for our rating. So here we're going to grab our shapes, star tool. Let's do all 5 stars. So I'm gonna grab, there's 2, there's 3, 4, 5. And we're just gonna select all of those again. And again, my favorite align tool. We are going to distribute horizontally. And we are going to align top. And now we have 5 perfectly aligned stars. So let's drag that over and resize that so it fits. I'm gonna group these guys. Okay, now we're just gonna paste a bunch of these stars. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Paste another 5 over. We're going to position our bottom stars, and we're gonna grab all our stars, and then let's align to the left. There we go. We have perfectly aligned stars again. We're gonna move that over. Now we are going to make sure everything is on draw, because we're drawing everything except our big square here. So we'll select everything except the square. And we're going to go to draw, and you'll see our stars look like outlines now, which is perfect. That's what we want. It's looking good. All right, we've got to select everything and attach it. So Cricut knows exactly that everything needs to be drawn relative to everything else, and that the writing is relative to the cutting of the background. So now when we hit make it, you'll see it's just one, and everything looks perfect here. So let's go ahead and make it, and I'll quickly show you what it looks like. All right, so we've got it all cut out and drawn on, and I think it looks pretty good. So on the back here, I'm just gonna put some transparent sticky notes. These are my favorite sticky notes for when I'm reading books. And here I have my Owl Crate special edition copy of Ruthless Vows. I think it goes together very, very nicely. And that's it for all our bookmarks. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Until next time, bye!